My name is Peter Halász. I am an emeritus professor of neurology in Budapest, Hungary. I became interested in sleep very early in the 60s when at Debrecen University Medical School Neurological Clinic we started to use sleep EEG as a diagnostic tool in epilepsy. Later, I had been educated in this topic in Montpellier, France, at the beginning of the 70s by the late Professor Pierre Passohan, who was an outstanding scholar both in epilepsy and sleep. I started to recognize phasic events in sleep and their association with epileptic discharges, particularly with generalized spike wave discharges, during this fellowship, which gave me very much, paving my further way in sleep and epilepsy research. The first important observation was the recognition of the so-called microarousals, that means EEG and polygraphic arousals without awakening, and the fact that the dynamic structure of sleep is closely interconnected with them. Paradoxically, the most important feature of sleep is arousability. This differentiates sleep from coma. The second pillar of our knowledge about the so-called microstructure of sleep came from our findings on key complexes, revealing that they are the reactive delta elements of sleep, and also the Parma group discovery parallelly in the mid-80s of the cyclic alternating pattern, the so-called CAP. The recognition that the sleeping brain responses to the stimuli coming from the outer world may cause shift toward preservation of sleeps, that means causing anti-arousals, and not only classical arousal, was revealing. This state-dependent difference in responsibility changed radically our view about the sleep procedure and the nature of arousal in non-REM sleep. This confirmed the ancient popular knowledge about the sleep-promoting effect of certain sensory stimulation and permitted us to elaborate the arousal-dependent regulation of sleep. It explains why we behave individually, invariably, in different nights, and how the sleeper is in flexible contact with the surrounding world, even during sleep, and also explains the defense mechanism of sleep. That is the way how the sleeper remains in contact with the surrounding, but in the same time able to preserve the sleep state. Study of relationship of generalized spike wave EEG pattern of idiopathic generalized epilepsy with sleep dynamics showed very close association of the reactive delta bouts of CAP A1 phase. This discovery is nowadays very much congruent with the knowledge about the pathomechanism of generalized spike wave discharge, which turned to be the epileptic distortion of the thalamocortical part of the sleep system. That way, the activation of idiopathic generalized seizures in transitional states from awake of non-REM sleep and vice versa became more understandable. Studying the dynamics of sleep structure, called later by us microstructure of sleep, proved to be very fruitful research line and made possible deeper understanding of the expressions of different brain disorders in sleep. My cooperation in this field with the Parma Sleep Research Group have provided several interesting practical and theoretical results. An important lesson gathered during my career is that cooperation of scientists with different background and knowledge can be extremely useful in the border fields like basic sleep research and clinical research of epilepsy. The most recent branch of flourishing tree from these two roots is the growing knowledge about how the impairment of non-REM by epileptic events destroys cognitive functions in certain mainly childhood epilepsies. This development of our knowledge again was underlined by the growing understanding of the role of non-REM sleep in recuperating frontal cognitive functions during sleep. With my colleagues, we try now to contribute in this field as well. This occasion, I would like to express my thanks and admiration to my older and younger colleagues and students here in Budapest and throughout the world, whom we spent so many hours with lovely discussions. By them, I became convinced that communication is one of the most important fuel of science.